United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. I am Chair of the County Board, Sean Flowerday. On my left is Vice Chair Rick Vest and Commissioner Deb Shore. On my right is Commissioner Roma Amundsen and Commissioner Krista Yoakum. We are your Lancaster County Board. Let's begin.
A copy of the Nebraska Open Meetings Act is located on the wall through the hearing room. Additionally, a copy of all written material to be discussed at today's open meeting is available from the county clerk staff at the front of the hearing room. The material can also be viewed on the county's website at lancaster.ne.gov. Agenda item 1 are minutes, approval of the minutes of the Board of Commissioners meeting held on Tuesday, February 11th, 2020.
I move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Shore,
Yes.
Amundsen,
Yes.
Yoakum,
Yes.
Best,
Yes.
Flowerday.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Number 2 are claims. Approval of all claims processed through February 18th, 2020.
Move approval of the claims?
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Best,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Amundsen,
Yes.
Yoakum,
Yes.
Flowerday.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Number 3 is a special presentation. National Engineers Week, Pam Dingman, County Engineer.
Here, I was going to say something nice about this, but I should have known you were doing a special presentation.
You can stand in whatever order you feel fit. Like Mr. Lake. Oh. Pam Dingman, Lancaster County Engineer. So February 16th through February 22nd is National Engineers Week. National Engineers Week was founded by the National Society of Professional Engineers in 1951. It is dedicated to ensuring the diverse and well-educated future of the engineering workforce by increasing the understanding and the interest of engineering and technology careers. Today I have with me Larry Legg, professional engineer, Karen Wilson, professional engineer, Amanda Kingman, who is an engineer in training, and Allison Cook, who is an engineer in training, as well as our engineer who has decided to never retire, Virgil Dearmont, who is also a professional engineer. In Nebraska, you must have a degree from an accredited engineering program and pass the engineer in training test in order to take the professional engineer's exam. And that currently means that you have to have 4 years of progressive engineering experience. Also in Nebraska, women make up just 9% of the engineering workforce. Only North Dakota, Maine, and Utah have a lower percentage of women engineers than Nebraska. In Lancaster County Engineering, we have 73% women by FTEs. As you can see, this group of professionals has nearly 125 years of engineering experience in traffic engineering, roadway design, hydraulics and hydrology, as well as permitting and construction. This team has led the efforts to reconstruct many of Lancaster County's roads and bridges after the flooding last spring. During this last year, this team oversaw the construction of 9 new bridges, a significant amount, as well as over 40 new pipe culverts and the grading of 2 miles of county road. This team of engineers has worked relentlessly to improve the roads and bridges of Lancaster County. It is somewhat breathtaking to think that in FY 2011, there was only $340,000 of capital contracts in the Highway Fund. In FY 2019, there was nearly $8.2 million of capital contracts in the Highway Fund, a 24-fold increase. This is what a highly engaged, highly skilled engineering team does. They come to you year after year with results. This is what this team of engineers has dedicated to the residents of rural Lancaster County. And I'd just like to thank them today. Thanks, guys.
I've had to female percentage is a statistic to be proud of. You probably are leading the nation, ladies.
These are qualified candidates, and so on occasion, I'm asked if we focus on that. No, we focus on qualified candidates, and I'm excited to have been able to recruit all three of these women.
Well, I really want to thank you all for your professionalism, for your engagement in this, because, you know, like when you start talking about the amount of money that has gone up in the, what is it, 24-fold? That's a significant amount, and it does show that you're truly, truly engaged. And what you're doing is making a huge difference in rural Nebraska, in rural Lancaster County. And so, and Pam, I know that you're out and about talking up engineering to women. You had that young women's group that you spoke to, 400 young women.
That was Introduce Girl to Engineering Day, which is held at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln on an annual basis. Karen Wilson and I have been involved in that program for years. In addition, we also host several sections of Clover College at County Engineering every year, as well as Kid Day at County Engineering, which Mr. Legg is not for the Kid Day at County Engineering. But the rest of us, so he keeps running the engineering, and the rest of us take a break and spend the day with about 75 children, anywhere from 8 to 13.
You're doing good work. You're keeping the lifelines of the county open. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And 73%, that must include Virgil's part-time status, right? Like, how do we get to, I'm sitting here trying to do the math on that. And
As an engineer, Commissioner Flowerday, I couldn't just say more than 70.
Right, right.
I mean, you were lucky I didn't put like a few decimal points in there just for fun.
Right, yeah,
It
naturally.
is National Engineers Week after all.
Right, excellent, great. Thank you.
Good to see you, Virgil.
Number 4 are consent items. These are routine business items that are expected to be adopted without dissent. Any individual item may be removed for special discussion and consideration by a commissioner or by any member of the public without prior notice. Unless there's an exception, these items will be approved as one with a single vote of the Board of Commissioners. These items are approval of C-19-526 with Mediation Center for the Restorative Justice Program, C-19-525 with Family Service Lincoln for the School-Based Therapeutic Services Program, C-18-167 with Interconnect for Unit Price Commercial Grade Door Security Access Control System and Service, C-15-175 with the Bridge to provide substance abuse evaluations and abuse education classes for inmates in the custody of Lancaster County Jail. The amendment extends the term through February 28, 2021. Receive and place on file the Lancaster County Records and Information Management Quarterly Report for January 2020.
Move approval of the consent items. I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Yocum,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Flowerday.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Number 5 is new business. 5A is appointment of Kathy Roush and Nancy Field to the Lancaster County Community Mental Health Crisis Center Advisory Committee for terms commencing March 11, 2020 and ending March 8, 2023.
I don't see them here, but I do want to move to approve this appointment.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion?
I would just like to say I'm on this committee, and I do know Kathy, and I think she'll be an excellent addition to this committee, and I've seen Nancy's resume, and I think that speaks highly of her, so,
Yeah, she seems very qualified.
yeah, these are good appointments.
Okay, if there's no further discussion, please call the roll.
Amundson,
Yes.
Yocum,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Flowerday.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. B is a recommendation from the purchasing agent to award a purchase order to Murphy Tractor for the supply of a John Deere 655K crawler loader with 320 hours. The award is based on a special purchase process approved by the county board on February 4th, 2020. The total cost of the order is $136,132.
Good morning, Ron Bohati with Lancaster County. I'm trying to get over that cold that's been going around, so if you have any questions about this piece of equipment, we are excited to try to get rid of some of our old equipment that we can't any longer get parts for. A lot of them do have an open cab, so there is no protection for the operator, from the heat and elements. So we'd be able to get this piece of equipment probably right after the purchase order is approved, and we were looking forward to having that for the season that's coming up.
Okay, move approval.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second, and the county attorney staff is looking forward.
I just felt like I should note this was the one that went through the special purchase process, and they didn't receive any bids or anything, so that's why this is now coming for you.
Thank you.
Great, thank you. So we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Shore,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Yocum,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Flowerday.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. C is a contract with Don's Pioneer Uniform for annual supply sheriff uniform clothing and accessories.
Move approval.
I'll second.
I'm waiting for the joke about pink tan pants.
Yes.
Looking
No?
for Todd.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Vest,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Yocum,
Yes.
Flowerday.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. 5D is a contract between Community Action Partnership and Lancaster County to provide annual service, interpretation, and translation services.
Move approval.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Yocum,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Flowerday.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. E is an agreement with Mary Rittenberg to provide professional services as a licensed alcohol and drug abuse counselor at the Mental Health Crisis Center.
I'll move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Amundson,
Yes.
Yocum,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Flowerday.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. F is an agreement with Zell LLC to provide qualified professionals to recruit candidates for the position of Chief Administrative Officer to the Lancaster County Board of Commissioners. The county will pay $15,000 for the professional services and up to $1,000 for expenses. The agreement shall be effective upon execution by both parties.
Just want to let you know we are missing one piece of insurance, but they are getting it. Should be here within about a week or two, I believe they said. So I just ask you approve it contingent upon receipt of that insurance.
I would move that we approve this contract contingent on receiving that insurance form.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Shore,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Yocum,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Flowerday.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Number 6 is public comment. Those wishing to speak on items relating to county business not on agenda may do so at this time.
Good morning, Larry Hedkins, 8600 Northwest 112th, Malcolm, Nebraska. And I appear before you this morning as president of Lancaster County Farm Bureau, and on behalf of our 8,600 members, I want to thank the county commissioners for your work and dedication, and also to Pam Dingman, our county engineer, for the work that you've done on our bridges. Certainly you've had 2 years, in my 30 years of county government, I don't remember back-to-back years being anywhere as close, so you certainly had challenges. Want to specifically thank you for being willing to try new technologies, such as the foam jacking underneath scoured bridges. So this is the kind of thing that, maybe we can get a few more years of life out of some of those bridges that aren't in the worst shape. And so we appreciate your willingness to do that. Also, I wanted to give you a little bit of an update. We told you that we share your concerns, as tax dollars are tight and they're hard to come by. And so a little bit of an update, we said we would try to do whatever we could as Lancaster County Farm Bureau to secure more funding for you. And Paula Peterson, one of our board members out at Waverly, who some of you know, passed a resolution at the county level that we seek to secure more funds for the fuel tax. Lancaster County should do pretty well under the fuel tax, and in visiting with Dennis of your budget office, it looks like you get about $550,000 a year. That should increase because we do have Interstate 80, 77, you've got Highway 6, 34, you've got a lot of roads going through Lancaster County. So on those fuel miles, it should continue to increase, even though the price of fuel goes down. We're using more gallons because the price is more favorable. I guess the thing that, that we were able to do is take that local resolution and take it to the State Farm Bureau. And they're always been very reluctant to increase taxes, no matter what it was for. But we made a compelling case and got it passed on the state level that Lancaster County Farm Bureau, as well as the State Farm Bureau, is in support of increasing the fuel tax or reallocating the fuel tax so it weighs more heavily for county boards such as yourselves for roads and bridges. And this was no small task, but because Paula Peterson felt so strongly about it, it started as a grassroots movement, it did continue. I'll be here a little bit later to speak on an exemption for our church, but it's kind of good. Carol and I enjoy doing what we want to do now instead of what we have to do. But it's nice to see the county board in good hands again. Thank you for your commitment and willingness to serve.
Thank you. Any other members of the public wishing to speak? Seeing none?
Next is announcements. The Lancaster County Board of Commissioners will hold a staff meeting on Thursday, February 20th, 2020 at 8:30 a.m. in the Bill Luxford Studio of the County City Building. The Lancaster County Board of Commissioners will hold its next regular meeting on Tuesday, February 25th, 2020 at 9 a.m. in Room 112 of the County City Building. County Commissioners can be reached at 402-441-7447 or commish@lancaster.ne.gov. The Lancaster County Board of Commissioners meeting is broadcast live on Link TV City. For the rebroadcast schedule, visit lincoln.ne.gov. Meetings are also streamed live on Link TV and can be viewed on YouTube.
I move we adjourn.
Second?
We have a motion and a second for adjournment. Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Vest,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Yocum,
Yes.
Flowerday.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Okay, we will go ahead and open up the Lancaster County Board of Equalization for Tuesday, February 18th.
A copy of the Nebraska Open Meetings Act is located on the wall at the rear of the hearing room. Additionally, a copy of all written material to be discussed at today's open meeting is available from the county clerk's staff at the front of the hearing room. These materials can also be viewed on the county's website at lancaster.ne.gov. Agenda item 1 are minutes. Approval of the minutes of the Board of Equalization meeting held on Tuesday, February 4th, 2020.
I move approval.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Shore,
Yes.
Amundson,
Abstain?
Yocum,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Flowerday.
Yes.
Motion carries 4 yes, 1 abstention. Number 2 are additions and deductions to the tax assessment rolls.
Move approval of the additions and deductions.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Vest,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Yocum,
Yes.
Flowerday.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Next are public hearings. Our first public hearing is for motor vehicle tax exemption applications. This is for First Free Methodist Church, Alzheimer's Association, Advent Source, Inc., Lux Center for the Arts, Tabitha, Inc., Catholic Social Services, People City Mission, and they have 2 applications, Centerpoint, Inc., Pius X High School, and Mount Zion Baptist Church.
Are there any members of the public wishing to speak on the motor vehicle tax exemptions? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on down then to, yes, we'll move down to correlating item number 4.
This is action on motor vehicle tax exemption applications.
Move approval of the motor vehicle tax exemption applications?
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Yocum,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Flowerday.
Yes.
Next is 3B, and this is 2020 451 tax exemptions on real and personal property. And this includes B1, recommendation for approval. B2 is recommendation for approval with a late filing penalty. 3 is recommended for approval of partial exemption. 4 is recommended for approval of partial exemption with a late filing penalty. And 5 is recommended for denial.
Good morning, Scott Gaines, Deputy County Assessor, Register of Deeds. Just a little background.
Since it's a public hearing,
I
I should
will do
swear
that.
you in. Do you solemnly swear from the testimony you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth?
I do. A little bit of background. Every 4 years, all educational, charitable, religious organizations are required by state law to reapply or apply for the first time for their property tax exemptions. So we've got 800-900 of them on here. Our office's responsibility is to make a recommendation to the board based on information that the organizations have provided to us and some follow-up information that we may have gathered from visits and phone calls, et cetera. What we've done is we've categorized our recommendations into the categories that Dan just listed there. The bulk of these are for approval. It's important to note they have to file by December 31st, and Connie Allschwede in our office does a yeoman's job of reminding people and reminding people and reminding people that that deadline approaches. So any time there's a late filing penalty, we don't like it any more than the organization does. But we do have, by law, if they're not filed by the 31st of December, there is a penalty applied, and it's basically a maximum of $100 per month for each month which it's late. We're sitting here in February, so any of these late filing penalties would be a maximum of either $100 if they were filed in January or $200 if they're filed in February. And it's less than that because it's really the lesser of $100 or 10% of the tax due, whichever is less. So you'll see some of these that were filed, we recommend approval, but we do have to apply the penalties. So with that, I don't know how many of the people in the audience here are even aware of what the recommendations are. So it might be, maybe if we start with the denials, I think that might be the cleanest way to do it. And then if anybody in the room is on that denial list, and they can come up and offer their testimony to the board. Does that sound like a reasonable way to proceed?
Yeah, I actually think that's a smart way to do it.
Okay.
Start with the denials.
And the denials, luckily, it's a fairly short list, and I'll just go over them in the order that they were listed on the agenda and kind of some of the background for the denial. The first one is Jana Christensen Bauman, and it's an organization that she's involved with, but the problem with this application is the property is owned by the private individual. So it's not owned by the exempt organization, so we can't recommend approval on that one. CHI Nebraska made application over at 40th and Yankee Hill. Some bare ground that they have future plans for. Still nothing going on out there, still no building permits, and that's kind of been the standard that we've applied is once they have a building permit and they're doing something that we can anticipate what would be used. Nothing there, it's still a vacant lot. City Impact has one of their lots that is leased to a private entity, so that lot is taxable. Madonna has 2 outlots near their proactive property that we've denied repeatedly. They're outlots that are held for, one is held for future development, one is a no-value outlot that really is just a tag-along parcel to their campus out there. Pillar Reformed Church has ground that they lease for ag purposes. Salvation Army has 2 houses that is used by their clergy, but they were adamant in their application that there was no organizational activities taking place in these houses, that it was purely a residence for the clergy, and they repeated no activity used by the organization in the properties. St. Joseph Institute has 2 properties. They're in denial list because they've recently sold, so the ownership has changed. And then 10,000 Villages, it's a personal property application. The organization that has a retail storefront, and we've been pretty consistent. This one has slipped through the cracks on us previously, I will tell you that up front, but we've been pretty consistent that the retail, anything used in a retail storefront has been taxed, and we do that for all of the, you'll see some of those on the partial list as well, where there's one warehouse even where part of the warehouse is used for storage of retail operations, that they use the proceeds for the charitable use, but it's still a retail operation. So the retail operation portion has always been taxed.
Okay.
With that, if you're not on that list, you may be on the partial list, but those are the ones that, and we have shared with County Attorney's Office our denial list and our reason for denial, and so they should be somewhat versed on this as well. With that, I'll let anyone else who would like to come up and speak have their time.
Okay. Is there anyone here to speak on the denials then? I'm just going to read them out one more time so people can hear them. It's Janet Christensen Bauman, CHI Nebraska, City Impact, Madonna Rehabilitation Hospital, Pillar Reformed Church, the Salvation Army, St. Joseph Institute, and 10,000 Villages, Lincoln Incorporated. Anyone here to speak on any of those? Seeing none, let's move down to the correlating item on the denials.
This is number 9, action on 2020 451 tax exemptions on real and personal property recommended for denial.
I move approval.
I'll second that.
Sorry, I feel like since this is the same public hearing, we should save all the votes for the end.
That works fine.
That way we can close the public hearing on all of them.
That makes sense. I have no issue. So then let's move, I guess
You
we'll
wanna-
just move up.
Do you want to withdraw the motion in second?
Yes.
Okay. So then let's move to the partial exemptions. Do we need to can we do all partial exemptions together? Do we need to do the partial exemptions and the partials with the late filing penalty separate? Looks like they require different motions. So.
We can do the partials first. Connie, there's only one partial with a late filing? Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Let's just do the partials together then, yeah.
Let me just go down the list with a brief explanation. Advisory Board Church in the Nazarene, there's a coffee shop in that property that's taxable. Benevolent and Protective has a bar lounge area that's taxable. Blessed Sacrament Church has a rental house. Bridge Behavioral Health has space leased to home services. Brown Medical Center, all their parcels, the part that they do lease to private entities are subject to tax. Camp Creek Antique, they have a rental house that's taxable. Christian Heritage Child's Home leased agricultural ground. Christ Place has some excess land west of their main church grounds. Church in Lincoln, they have a portion that's leased to a law firm. Crossbridge Christian Church, daycare, private daycare on the property. East Ridge Presbyterian Church, a private daycare on the property, and this is one we just became aware of recently, so this is a new partial. Evangelical Trinity Lutheran Agricultural Acres taxable. Girl Scout Spirit of America, again, it's personal property account. The equipment they use in their retail store, just that portion is taxable. Grace Evangelical Lutheran Church, they have an apartment that's taxable. Hope Reformed Church, agricultural acres. Manual Retirement Communities, they've got Manual Retirement and IRC2 Inc. These are continuum of care places. The independent living units are taxable. The assisted living, the high care retirement, or the nursing home type areas are exempt still. Lincoln City Church, agriculture acres taxable. Lincoln Firefighters Reception Hall, the portion that is the rental hall itself is taxable for the real estate and the personal property account listed. Lincoln Medical Education Partnership has lease space to private entities. Lincoln Monthly Meeting Society, a caretaker apartment. Lux Center for the Arts has a small retail store in their operation. Madonna Centers leases space to Nebraska Orthotics. Marian Sisters has ag acres. Nebraska District of Lutheran, apartment taxable. North Star Lodge, lease space taxable. Prairie Hill Learning Center, apartment. Priestley Fraternity of St. Peter has agricultural acres on both of their parcels. Redeemer PCA has an apartment. School Sisters of Christ the King Lincoln, agricultural acres. Shepherd of the Hills Lutheran Church has a private daycare. Slavic Christian Church has agricultural acres. South Point Christian has some self-storage units. St. Joseph Institute, the thrift store storage, the one I spoke of earlier. United Methodist Church of Martell has a rental house. University of Nebraska Foundation has a rental house. And Vital Services, Inc. Leases to for-profits. Those are the ones that we're recommending partial approval. What I just described would be the taxable portion of each of those. And then The partial with a late penalty is,
Christian Retirement Homes Incorporated.
right, which is Eastmont. So again, it would be similar to the other retirement. That would be independent living units taxable, and then the appropriate late filing penalty imposed.
Okay. Is there anyone here to speak on a partial on approval of partial exemptions, either with or without a late filing penalty? Anyone looking to speak on the partial exemptions, the list that was just read? Okay, seeing none, let's move back to approvals then. Scott, is there anything to be said about the approvals? We're approving them.
Speaks for itself.
Great.
Somebody wants to read them all, good luck.
I apparently have to sign them all, which I'm extremely happy about.
I'll have to sign them all as well.
Yeah, awesome. So, with that then, I guess we will, if there's no one else to speak on the public hearings,
How many
we will
are-
go ahead and close the public hearings and move down to the correlating items. And why don't we'll just stay in order. Let's just go to correlating item 5.
Number 5 is action on the 2020 451 tax exemptions on real and personal property recommended for approval.
I move approval.
I second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Amundson,
Yes.
Yocum,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Flowerday.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Number 6 is action on 2020 451 tax exemptions on real and personal property recommended for approval with a late filing penalty.
Is this? Just curious if anyone wanted to speak on any of these items? You're just here to listen. Okay.
Move
Okay.
approval.
Second.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Shore,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Yocum,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Flowerday.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Number 7 is action on the 2020 451 partial tax exemptions on real and personal property recommended for approval.
Move approval?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion on the partial exemptions? Please call the roll.
Vest,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Yocum,
Yes.
Flowerday.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Number 8 is action on 2020 451 partial and late filing penalty tax exemptions on real and personal property recommended for approval.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Yocum,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Flowerday.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Number 9 is action on 2020 451 tax exemptions on real and personal property recommended for denial.
I move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Amundson,
Yes.
Yocum,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Flowerday.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Number 10 is public comment. Those wishing to speak on items relating to County Board of Equalization business not on the agenda may do so at this time.
Any members of the public wishing to speak on Board of Equalization business? Okay.
I move we adjourn.
Second.
And with a note of thanks to Connie for all the work that she does to make sure that the people who qualify for the exemptions receive them.
My thanks as well.
Thank you very much. We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion on the motion to adjourn? Please call the roll.
Shore,
Yes.
Yocum,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Flowerday.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0.
We are adjourned.